What is up, YouTube? This is AlphonZeus of Team Gradelock here with another episode of Team Gradelock Unlocks the Week. We're going to be going over the latest Card Fight Vanguard episode, Ride 159, as well as results from our local and any more news that we have from Team Gradelock to you, our subscribers. So let's get right into it. Ride 159. Spoiler alert, you haven't seen the episode yet, please pause or close the video, go watch that episode, and then come back right here so we can discuss about it. Of course, if you don't want to do that, please click on the link in the description down below to skip right to the results of our local. So, Ride 159, Dragon Rebirth. Now I get to see where the culmination of the fight all takes place on the grade 3s between Ren's Revenger Shadow Paladins and Kai's Kagero reversed. So we have here an interesting segment where Ren decides to unveil his new unit, which was Drag Ruler Phantom, the crossbreak ride for Mordred Phantom. And unfortunately, of course, it seems like this is part of plot armor, that when Ren dealt that damage to Kai, he got a crit trigger, making it a heck of a lot easier to guard, and Kai would probably have to use a lot more of his resources to do so. And during this whole time, you know, Aichi just went, oh wow, is this going to happen? What's going on? And of course, Takudo is also interesting to see, well, now I get to see what Kagero Reverse is going to actually be like. Need to say, when Kai blocked all that damage, when Ren called final turn, it was a real downer, because we all know it's going to end. So, what do we have here? We got Kai riding, looks like the end got reversed, which turned out to be one of the last units to get reversed, despite how crazy Dauntless Dote has been performing at the regionals, or even on the world stage, actually. So, he cross breaks ride, which is strange, because Draconic Overlord can also be a break ride? Well, hopefully he can show some of those facts about it, or when the Card Fight Vanguard Wiki posts up those facts just to affirm what the break ride is going to be like, as well as what the regular ride is going to be like. When we have Draconic Overlord the Reverse. This one, I don't know if I would call this balanced or not, but it's definitely perfect guard fodder. Definitely, out of all things. It's making Dauntless actually looking like the better break ride to utilize. So, when Kai rides this guy, he locks all 5 of his rear guards. Pretty much says, alright, if you go up against Omega Glendios, you don't even need that. Because you wouldn't be dumb enough to lock all 5 units when your Link Joker opponent just says, okay, everybody that can't be that is locked stays locked. So, once he does that, it's interesting to see how we get to see a remix of Draconic Overlord, where if it hits a unit, stand again, hits a unit, stand again. And from what we know so far from the wiki, it's just that when it hits a rear guard, it stands again, it doesn't lose Twin Drive, which was the crutch that the original Draconic Overlord had to go through. But Ren, unfortunately, let Draconic Overlord hit all of those times. He shouldn't have, because on the first drive checks or so, he only got 1 trigger out of it, which was strange, because if you just block that attack, maybe Ren would have survived and actually went on to make it for the next turn, which is unfortunate. But thing is, though, he had no perfect guard in hand, and plus the break ride skill, this guy was swinging for like 29-31. He had to drop a hell of a lot of cards in order to get through that, and I was hoping that Ren would have some sort of quintet wall, but of course, no avail. It's not so. And when Kai managed to go in for the Vanguard, puts up shield, makes it 2 to pass, Kai gets a double crit. Wow. The unfortunate part is, Ren, he damage checked. First check, heal trigger. Okay, that's interesting. Second check, heal trigger. Okay, is Psyqualia working for him? Because I didn't see Ren activate his Psyqualia that much, and it's silly. But the unfortunate part is Kai said he won, and Ren acknowledged that. Because the strange fact that it was because one of the cards that Ren used to guard with was a heal trigger, and there was the 4th heal trigger that was already used earlier in the match. And he went through all 4 of his heals, so we'd have lost either way. It was a sad way to see him go. I wish that they would just break the meta, or just break what was normal and have Ren beat Kai, and so Aichi can face off Takudo all on his own. But Ren ends up getting reversed, and of course throughout this whole thing, Kai achieves what he finally had. He succumbed to the power of Link Joker, mastered it, made it his own, and turned a reversed style into his original clan. So we have here a reverse Kagero player. Doesn't use Link Joker anymore, but he finally accomplishes his task of beating both Aichi and Ren with his newfound power. And of course, it seemed that Ren and Kai had a really big bromance moment because of their long-standing relationship in terms of friendship and their rivalry as it evolved from Season 1 to Season 3. It was sad to see Ren go down like that, but we'll have to leave it like that. Hopefully Aichi gets to premiere some sort of new unit, because now when Takedo says, alright, you're going to face Aichi again, but Kai says, no. I already beat Aichi. I don't need to play him again. Well, eventually probably going to have to face him again, because Aichi's probably going to, kick ass, hopefully. Because if the plot twist and everybody gets reversed, then I'm not sure what the heck's going to happen. But, and we get to see Takedo reverse going up against Aichi for Ride 160, and I hope this is going to be a really interesting one. I wonder what new tech Aichi's going to pull out for this. I'm not sure if he's going to be Gradelock Scissors, but it might be somebody completely different. And with Omega Glendios, maybe we'll see some more reverse support, so we can see how exactly the Lock 5 would work in order to win the duel, or win the fight. So this is going to be an interesting fight. Hopefully for the next 2 episodes we get to see some really interesting action between Aichi and Reverse Takedo. I want to see a really good card fight, because that fight between Ren and Kai was definitely by far one of the best fights of the season. And I'm looking forward to next week. I've seen it. Ride 160, we have Perfect Black Ring. So the title sounds a little bit gloomy, but still, who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully we'll have Aichi beat Takedo, then beat Kai, and then everyone's going to be happy and happily ever after for at least Season 3. And, I think this is taking a bit of a good turn. Of course, it was expected, but it's probably going to make it up in the end. So, if there's anything I missed in the episode of Ride 159, please feel free to comment down below, get a conversation started. And, of course, let's get right to the results of our local. So, Thursday, I wasn't able to go. I went to Game On Thursday to see if I can try and get into a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Unfortunately, there weren't many people there. Many people I made trades, sold cards, whatever. It was alright. Then Friday, I went to Comics and Toys because I thought there was going to be a Weiss Schwarz sorta online sanctioned tournament over there, an official one. And I was looking forward to it, but unfortunately, my friend James and I, we were the only 2 people there, and no one else showed up. Hopefully we'll get to see if it happens next week, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. I hope I get to participate in it, because I haven't played a Weiss Schwarz tournament in so long. I just had a casual match with James in Weiss Schwarz. He beat me, and of course the last card before I took that 7 damage per game was the Thank You Goodbye card, my 1 tech card. And if you don't know what that card is, please feel free to look it up. Or if not, I'll just tell you what it is. Thank You Goodbye is pretty much like a Mega Colony Stun. So I just pay 1 stock, I target a unit, and that unit can't stand. Which means that my opponent would either have to make one of the rear guards in the back of the stage come up and attack me to try and get me to 7 damage at level 3, or they'll just have to not attack and risk not getting another stock to use for revival or another skill. And this is Weiss Schwarz we're talking about here, so it's interesting. And so that brings us to Saturday at Game On. We ended up having around 17-18 people participate in the tournament, which is pretty good. We're starting to get a higher average than usual now, which means that we can actually all make it to top 8 instead of top 4. So I ended up using Bermudas again. It was an interesting turn of events. First game I went up against Shane of Team Dark Matter. He was running the OTT Soulless build. I ended up going 2-0 against him because the first game he was grade locked, and the second game I crit him on my grade 1 and my grade 2 ride, so he didn't have much to go through from there. Second game I went up against Christian. He was running the Eradicator of Narukami build. First game it was interesting back and forth, although Descendant really got me in the end. Second game I got him because of Lavador. And then third game I had all grade 1s in my hand, so I was grade locked. And so after he rode and he went first, I drew. I pretty much put all my grade 1s down on the field, made it a grade 1 rush, and he didn't have any cards to guard with because he only had the grade 2 and 3 in hand. So I managed to deal 3 damage to him, but of course he caught up in the end, and I wasn't able to really capitalize on that offense because he got triggers, and I wasn't able to guard that much in the end. So I lost that game. Third game, I went up against CK, and he was running the Spike Bros build. So in Spike Bros, it's really you gotta try and rush him down. There's no way you can get out. So first game, actually he 2-0'd me because first game he got the combo off with Dudley, just Dudley though. So I didn't have enough cards to guard with because he had the critical trigger on the drive check with Dudley Emperor. And then the second game, I think I got Gradelocked at 2, so I lost there. Fourth round, I went up against Joe. He was running his Shadow Paladins as usual. He actually ended up giving me the win because he was already 0-3. And unfortunately for him, that's going to be the last time he'll actually use that deck because the Revenger trial deck and the Link Joker Star Vader trial decks are going to be releasing next week. So we have that to look forward, so he can upgrade his deck finally to the Break Ride format. And then fifth game, I went up against Rob from Team Dark Matter. He was running, I think he was running, oh wow, I can't believe I forgot. I think he was running either Jewel Knights or Nova Grapplers. Either or, we had a very intense 3 games because we both got our combos down, although that it really came down to triggers. And in the third game he got it because second game I won against Gradelock, and the first game I think it was triggers against me. So third game it was a really tough battle to the end. I really had to use the Labrador skill and combo that with Queer and Celtic, so I could put the +4 on just to at least secure 6 damage. Hoping that he doesn't have a perfect guard in hand. So I ended up going top 8, and so I went up against Henry, who was undefeated at the moment, and I went up against him. He 2-0'd me as usual. So Eradicators really take out Bermudas quite well, especially with their starter Linshu that snipes out my my Koro, which is the Bermuda Triangle Prism starter. So I wasn't able to combo that much with the break rides, and he pretty much retired my field because Gauntlet Buster did so much work. I really didn't have any attack plans outside of just the Vanguard. So I lost that. He went on the top 4, and then the other 3 people that made up the top 4 were Christian, CK who beat Josh. Josh also top 8 as well, and I think it was either Rich or somebody else, but we had top 4. It was interesting to good to see the members of Team Gradelock get into that top 8 spot. But of course, 2 of our members ended up going for the top, going against each other in order to make it a top 4 and actually receive some prize support. But it was still a good tournament overall, even though that a lot of times people got grade locked, and that's a reoccurring theme. But hopefully next week we get to see some interesting stuff. And so that's it for pretty much the local results. Now, the stuff that's going to be coming up later on, actually, what's sweeping through, at least in the New Jersey area, we currently have a buddy fight surge going on. A lot of people are starting to get into it. They feel like it's really awesome that it's not that much of a luck psyche game. It's more of just, okay, if you can get to your impact, or it's a lot less luck psyche, like I said before. So I haven't seen a match in particular. I haven't really played a match, but I'm hoping to just, I'll try it out every once in a while. Maybe I'll get a trial deck, because the 2 worlds I'm actually interested in would be the Legend World and the Dungeon World, in which I haven't seen support for them yet. So hopefully when I get to see more of that, I'll probably pick up a trial deck and try it out. And so there's also other ones where I'm trying to get some stuff done for Yu-Gi-Oh! Trying to at least enter tournaments in there and see how I do. I already have my Herald deck kind of tuned up from the little session I had with James and Mike over at Comics and Toys on Friday. I actually managed to put in some good side deck cards to actually help amplify the deck a bit more, including 2 Kaiser Colosseums, because Herald, I noticed, really is just that when people span the field with special summons that I can't really stop outside of Christia, they can go into bigger monsters that can really beat over Herald, and therefore I really have nothing outside of Orange Light to negate. And so I ended up putting 2 Kaiser Colosseums in there. I ended up putting in an extra Gozen match. I guess I was just missing the Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, and I kind of like make sure that the side deck actually can prepare for the solid meta, especially in terms of DNA surgery and stuff. For the Yu-Gi-Oh decks, for Harpies, I'm just keeping it to one Harpies per Dragon because I don't know if I'm gonna run Tempest, but it feels like just Tempest and Dragon. They don't really contribute much outside of the access to the rank 7s, so it's actually pretty important because you get Big Eye, you get Dracossack, and maybe Master of Blades for like a budget style if you can't afford the other two. Of course, Big Eye got reprinted, so I should be able to get that. And then we have the Ghost Tricks, where I currently have 2 Ghost Trick Marys so far. I just need one more, and then I can finally fine-tune the deck and really get the Ghost Trick deck going. I don't know if I'm going to run Kaiser Coliseums in there. I might run just, back row hate that definitely shuts down person's, back row and stuff. Because I've seen the Ghost Trick video from Yu-Gi-Oh! For Real Men, and I thought that was a really interesting build. Because it can be a back row heavy format. And with the Zing Zen Zoo, that shuts down 2, and so if the guy just sets 5 and says, alright, sure, end phase, Zing Zen, I'm gonna lock those 4, and then I'm gonna play a Gyako, and I'm gonna lock that one finally. So you don't have to worry about that. And it's pretty much just Jiangxi doing work and then searching and flipping, and it was just pretty awesome. And then when Kaiser Coliseum to lock him down, it seems like that's the new card to really shut down a very offensive meta, especially in terms of people that special summon a lot. So outside of that, the only other things that I might be looking for would be for the trap tricks. I'm hoping to see what other traps I can get from there, because I do like the support that they got in terms of plants and insects. And so I want to see what other stuff is going to come out for that in the future. So pretty much the 5 decks that I'll be working on in terms of priority. You got Herald of Perfection, Perfect Agents, you got Harpies, you got Ghost Tricks, Madolche, and Trap Tricks. So those are the 5 decks I'm trying to really master upon right now. Of course, don't really want to get into the high meta like Debujins and Fire Fist, Mermails. They're pretty cool, I like that, but I don't know, just those 5 decks in particular, they just stand out to me a lot because I like the way they're a little bit more control based outside of Madolche, which is Madolche is straight special and just go off on people, which I like because that's a really awesome offensive deck, especially when Angeli gets released, because I'm gonna need 3 of her and I can make a pure Madolche deck right off the bat. So I have that for instance, and I'm hoping to see what I can get out of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the future. In terms of Magic, I haven't entered the pre-release at all. I'm actually trying to focus on the other games, and plus Future Card Buddyfight actually looks a little bit more interesting, so I kind of like that. So those are kind of like the ways in the TCG that's really flowing over, at least in a couple of TCGs that Team Gradelock's kind of really closing in on, because I don't know, this buddy fight thing actually really takes off. This might be a really good contender, and plus can not drag, but get a lot of people involved in it. So I'm definitely liking that. And I hope that the future, we'll just see what happens. I want to see how season 3 is going to end in the anime. I want to see what other new sets going to be coming out. Hopefully Primal Origin is going to be out by May or June. I'm not sure. I know that Yu-Gi-Oh! Released, I think, 4 booster sets a year, and then you have the tins and everything else. So, and then the Magic, I'm not entirely sure how to go about that. But if you guys want to see actually more Magic the Gathering content, feel free to comment down below or send us a message requesting us for that. And then finally, in terms of the casual series, yes, I know last week I did promise that I would put up a Double Trouble, but now I can at least put up that along with the casual series match that I recorded for this week. So you have 2 matches to look forward to for at least the next few days. I know that I've been busy with school and club stuff for my academics, and I just want to make sure I can devote time to them. But of course I always want to do this because this is pretty much what I love, to just expand out and just reach out to the YouTube audience and see what you guys think of this. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that we want to develop on, like develop our own intro, our own song, and just really get a promotion video out to get Team Gradelock on the map, because we really appreciate every subscriber that would subscribe to our channel, because that just helps us say, like, okay, we're doing something right, and we want to keep on doing it and attracting more people to just see how cool this channel really is. And feel free. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you want to see more. I know Henry's been talking about his King of the Ring segments and bringing back some other segments that he did over the course of time, especially with the 101s, which were pretty popular. So of course, I think next week or the week after, they also have the set 12 sneak peek, which is interesting because now instead of a playmat or a deck box, they have little folders for cards. I'm not sure if it's a binder or just a card folder, but either way, I want it. I just want one for Nebula Lord and Lukier Reverse. Those are two that I'm aiming for, and hopefully I'll get one of them, or both if not. So that's it for me. My name is AlphonZeus. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Team Gradelock Unlocks the Week, and I will see you all next time.